Hello, Jeff Green here again, and a lot of people have been talking to me about Tesla and what I think prices are going to do. So I figured I'd create this little chart. Before I get started, if you could press like and subscribe, that would appreciate that and help me out a lot. So let's look at the Tesla chart here. I've got the monthly chart on the left, I've got the weekly chart in the center here, and then the daily chart on the right. This is my usual setup. Sometimes I have a little shorter timeline on the daily, but it's usually monthly, weekly, daily, and something shorter. So some time back I had drawn this downtrending line across the highs on the monthly chart, and you see it hasn't broken that at all. It kept the highs right in that area on the monthly chart, and it's continuing to decrease on the monthly. So prices are down below the cloud. It's clearly in a downtrend. MACD is getting weaker. The unbalanced volume has been flat, which surprises me. I would have expected that to be going down, but nevertheless it's been flat. And then we've got an ADX of 16. On a monthly basis, that really doesn't tell you much, but let's take a look at what's going on in the weekly chart here. Over here, that's the same line that's on the monthly chart that we just talked about. And you can see prices have been let's just say swimming to the downside. If you look at the height of these down bars, this one's bigger than the one next to it. This one's bigger than the ones next to it. This one's bigger than the ones next to it, and so on. This one's bigger. These two are bigger. This is typically what you see in a downtrend. This is a downtrending stock until it isn't. You've got increases on down days. This was a good day here, but it wasn't enough to break the trend. As a matter of fact, these are weeks. As a matter of fact, it sort of popped up here almost to this trend line and then broke right back down. Typically what you see in a downtrend. MACD is getting weaker. You can tell this slope here is just not helping. Unbalanced volume is flat, and the ADX is getting worse. Now remember that you don't use the ADX as an oscillator. The ADX level shows the strength of the trend, and it increases, or it can show you the strength of the downtrend and the uptrend. So you've got to be careful about that. It's not an oscillator. So you can see the strength to the downside has been increasing as the ADX has gotten stronger on the weekly level. Okay, let's take a look at the daily chart. This is the daily chart over here. There's that downtrend I drew on the monthly. You can see the price is way below that. The price is below the cloud. Anytime price is below the cloud, chances are good you're in a downtrend. You've got a big gap here on earnings. Actually, earnings, if I recall, turned out to be fairly good, but there were discussions in the announcement that they were having challenges. And then from this, look at the volume on that earnings day. And then it took a little bit of a bounce here, and then hit its head right on this resistance right up here, right before earnings. Another gap, I think that was Tuesday of this week, and things are just not looking good right now for Tesla. You've got increasing volume on down days, and on the daily you've got a MACD that's decreasing, on-balance volume's not going anywhere, and an increasing ADX. It's now at 25, which is a strong downtrend. Okay, so what do I think? Let me just clear this up here. What do I think would make me take a look at Tesla for an investment? First of all, you got to break this downtrend line. If you look on the monthly chart, prices have to come up here, and they might test it and come back up, but you've got to get above this downtrend line. That's starters, and that's true on the monthly, weekly, and the daily basis. The second thing is this Chico line. And I'm going to do a class on Chico line. I'm getting a lot of questions. That's got to be above the price. You got to have that up here on the daily. This Chico line's got to be above the price of 26 weeks ago. That's another indication. And price has to be above the cloud. It's got to be in here somewhere on the weekly chart and in here somewhere on the daily chart. And ideally, you'd like this cloud to be green, and Tesla's a long way off from turning green. So you're looking at least, this area over here, more than $200 for it to even have a chance of reversing a trend. And then I want to see it get above this line here. So the longer this goes on, the longer this trend line gets easier to break. But I don't see any strength coming back into Tesla for the time being. You got MACD way below zero. So that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for a Chico line break, I'm looking for a trend line break, and I'm looking for price above the cloud. So again, subscribe if you would, please. And if you have any questions that I can answer for you, don't hesitate to give me a shout. You have a great day. Bye-bye.